because I was like, I can't promise you that. Like, this is our first date. What are you talking about? And he just like went off. He was angry and like all this crazy stuff. And he was like, I just want to go home. I just want to get my Uber. And I was like, sure, that's fine. Like, be my guest. And he was like, will you at least wait for me to get an Uber? And I was like, sure, because I'm a nice guy. And I was like, sure, I will wait with you to get an Uber. I was like, I just need you out of my sight right now.
Seanydoo. Hello, and welcome to Situaseans podcast. I'm your host, Sean Michael Williams, aka Seanydoo. You can call me Sean, Seanydoo. Does not matter to me. I'm just glad that y'all are here. And also, I got 7 guests here. So, the boys. Now, you might be wondering, like, why am I not in my normal studio setup? Well, long story short, my place is too fucking small for these handsome gentlemen. So we're recording at a studio. So yeah, shout out to FD Studio, just outside of the West Loop. If you want to get some photos done here, look them up. FD Photo Studio. I cannot remember the address. I'm a terrible guest.
We can edit it later.
Exactly.
Off the West. Yeah, just like it's like right. We'll put it down the middle. Like, yeah, it's right here.
Exactly.
Right here.
Exactly. Right. Also, you know what? Since I got so many guests on here, this episode is partner and sponsorship by Herbal Facebook.
Herbal Facebook.
We're leaving that in. Oh, goodness.
We're here for you, man. We're here for you.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so really quickly, I want to introduce all of my guests here. So I'm going to start from the front row and into the back. So you know what? Instead of me saying you all's names, I want y'all to say y'all names. So starting right here, who are you?
Oh, who am I? Yeah, hi, I'm Mike Norkus. I've known Seanydoo now for 3 years? Has it been that long?
I think so.
Oh my God, that's wild. We do theater stuff together. It's great. Can't recommend. Please book him for all of your theatrical or acting needs.
All right. Love the promo. Yes.
Hi, I'm Brandon Tejera. I have nothing interesting to say at the moment.
What's up? I'm Gavin. That's me.
Just Gavin. I'm Juan. I also know Sean from theater. I think it's going to be a common trend here.
Absolutely, yes.
Are we suddenly not doing last names?
I didn't know.
Hi, I am Rich Swierzewski. I've known Gavin probably as long as Michael Norkus. Oh my God. This is where we start. I know Gavin, bro. Actually, no, it's true. That's probably about the same. No, honestly, no.
We're all just Gavin.
This is great live. We didn't plan any of this.
Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward. What are the Squidwards I should know about? I
Meow.
Well, hi, I'm Jon O'Brien. I've known Sean for 3 years through theater and returning guest on the podcast.
It's a returning guest.
Return guest.
Is he your first return?
Yeah, he's my first return guest.
Oh,
so, yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, don't forget to check out Jon's episode. That was the February 14th Jordan episode 23. So, you'll see the little clip pop up here. First, watch the rest of this podcast and then go check out Jon's episode.
My name is Juan as well. Juan Sedonio. I'm Filipino.
That's a good note. Right. That's a distinction. I'm Mexican, so there you go. Easy distinction. You guys will get that.
Awesome. So all of these gentlemen, I've done shows with all of them. So they're all theater actors local to the Chicago area. And we're going to be unpacking a lot of stuff on today's episode. So so thank you to the listeners for tuning in to the podcast. I really appreciate you all. Tune into don't forget to subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Situaseans podcast if you want to get the behind the scenes content. Now I'm doing Situaseans Raw, which is just, little updates from the week that was. Ooh. And if you want to get the screenshots from the dating apps and all that other shit, subscribe to the Patreon because it gets sexy over there.
What? Wait, what kind, what kind of sexy? Like,
That's why you have to sit hang out here a little longer
you
today.
take
huh?
cash? I've got like, what are we doing here?
Yes, exactly. I do accept cash. So yeah, y'all know that like the drill of this podcast is about dating, relationships, mental and emotional, life experiences. Who fucking we? And we all go through stuff. At the end of the episode, we're gonna solve dating by the end of this episode, right, fellas?
Absolutely.
Something like that. Something like that.
try.
Something big.
We'll write a whole book after today.
Yes. So also we're going to be unpacking some, Hinge or Unhinged dating app prompts, and we have a listener submission about this is like our first high school age listener who submitted a story about someone he's interested in. So we're going to unpack that as well. So we'll try to give our best advice. And I had no idea that we have audiences in the high school age, but hey, if you can pick up some life advice from this show,
More power to you.
Or just be really entertained.
Right, exactly.
Listen, we're not high school age anymore, but we've played some on theater. On stage. We played teenagers on stage.
I've been told I
Exactly.
can play anywhere from 22 to 47.
Right.
Yeah.
Our range.
Age range.
Yes. So, I guess kind of just starting off. So, fellas, whenever I have a guest on the a guest on the show, the listeners, they always want to know, well, what's the relationship status of the guest? So can we kind of just go like a round table, whoever wants to start first? What is your relationship status at the time of this recording? Today is August 28th.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the time of this recording, which is August 28th.
We're in a time machine, y'all. Today is like what? Today is like May 11th, but by the time this comes out, this is August 28th.
I sure hope I'm still married to the person sitting next to me. August 28th, too.
It's a crazy couple months.
We've been married 8 years.
Wow.
8 years married, 11 together total, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
We're old.
What do you mean? You're 22.
You're older
Oh,
than
unless we're playing on TV, and I'm 22. Thank you.
yourself. You're 3 years older.
But I look younger. No. I act younger is the better way to say that.
Okay, so yes, apparently, yes, I am married to a, what? You're younger than me now?
Can I be? I'm older.
No.
I'm 3 years older.
Yes, so Brandon, you're Brandon, I'm Mike.
I'm
Yeah, and in an instant I
I'm
forget my
Juan.
own name.
John?
Mike and I have been
Gavin?
married for 8 years.
Sean?
Yeah.
As of April 2nd this year.
All right.
I am not married. I'm single. Very single.
All right.
Ready to mingle.
Sliding Gavin's DMs.
Right.
I'm not married yet. I will be getting married at this point 4 months from now. Well, in December, I'll be getting married to the lovely Bree Starkey. Hello, honey, if you're watching. Promise I won't say anything that'll embarrass you. We've been engaged now for 2 years, and we've been together. It'll be 9 years in December. So we're going to get married on our anniversary, 9 years together, and then we'll start working on the being married part.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I hope I get an invite in the
Oh,
mail.
absolutely. Everyone in here, I can assure you, is getting invited.
Yay!
Party!
We have video evidence. No.
Sure, you have to hold me to it. Open bar, a couple hours.
That's all I need to hear. I'm single, ready to mingle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Different,
different
Right.
different
hand.
groups.
Exactly.
What's the hand for that? I don't know what the hand is for.
I mean, you can
What is that? You can do that. I can't do that. No.
Back me up over here, brother.
Permanently single, John, per our episode, right? Like, it's okay. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. I'm permanently single too. No, I'm just kidding.
Momentarily.
I am not single. I am taken, and I will go through 2 years. 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
No, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So so it looks like.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I wasn't sure. Do I give a shout? Yeah, hi, honey, Mariana. Love you.
Yes, I love the shout outs. Yes.
I'll see you August 28th.
You knew this was gonna happen. You guys on the podcast.
August 28th.
Oh goodness. Well, no, that's amazing. It's like, like for those of you that are single or those of you that are in relationships, like you all are thriving, and that's what I love to see. So I just want to say, well, we got a little bit of rumble underneath us, but it's okay.
Sorry, I had beans for lunch.
I think we're somewhat safe because we got the mics close to us, but we'll see. To my editors, Pop Machine, I love you all. Thank you so much for editing all of this. So just want to give a bit of a shout out if you guys got to clean up any of the audio stuff. So love you. But yes, I just love that you all are like thriving in your relationships and in your singledom. But also, what happened?
We went to do the heart, but he gave me a thumbs up.
Rejected.
Tell me about it.
That's your best friend
it's
too.
different when you're gay, so he just did what he thought would make sense.
I guess.
Is that what happens when you get friends in?
Right?
You go to the heart, but you got a thumbs up instead.
I'm totally into
I think I could write a book about
I miss you so much.
Right? Exactly.
I've been thinking about you all day.
That needs to be your guys' tattoo now. Honestly,
Yes. So people start doing it. Know that we did it here. It started here first.
We're the originators.
Right? We originated that shit.
Friend zone.
Friend zone. Oh no.
So, I definitely have like a few questions here that I want to ask you all. And, because there's so much that goes on with like life and, our day to day, we're theater actors. We're trying to balance, our social lives, our families. So I guess kind of like starting off, I kind of want to know like, so most of us are like local to like the Chicago area, but I want to, and the suburbs as well. But I want to know, like, has anybody,
Same.
grew up outside of Chicago that, that's experienced in Chicago now or whatever, or it's just like, yeah, I've been here for a minute. I love it. So yeah, just kind of whoever wants to start, doesn't matter.
Excuse me. But I grew up in Virginia area, so I've only been in Chicago for like 2 years. So, and I've dated in Virginia, obviously. Now dating in Chicago, it's very, very different.
Yeah.
Because especially in the city in Chicago, it's very like fast paced, and you kind of have to stay on people's radar because they're like, oh, there's so many options, and so they're just like, it's a quick, It's not like settling down as far as like in the city, in Chicago.
Yeah.
So coming from Virginia, it's like, oh, this is interesting,
Would you say you prefer dating in Chicago over Virginia or the other way around?
That's a hard question. Dating in Chicago is very difficult, to be honest. Like, I think it's just, people are just, because there's so many options and there's so many people, it's like, if one thing isn't like clicking or whatever, they're like, oh, see you later kind of thing. There's a lot of like ghosting or a lot of, icks. Yeah. It's just like, oh, if just one thing, like, they're like, oh, I probably can find better. So they just keep, it's like a cycle. Yeah. That's at least what I've experienced. May not be in everybody's experience, but yeah.
All right. Right on. Anybody else not from Chicago or born in Chicago or suburbs?
All right. He mentioned that I was not born in America. I was born in the Philippines. So he thought I was only 8.
In the Philippines, that's
So I have nothing to share. But anyways, that was all.
Dating men in the Philippines when you're how old?
7 or 8.
Countries, different laws.
already know your stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Well, for those of you that are like in Chicago, and this is a question for like the entire like group here, but like, so Gavin kind of already answered this part, but for the other people, like is dating in Chicago unhinged? And this is for everybody, but like back in your single days or whatever, was dating hard? And if you're currently single, is dating in Chicago hard?
It's just passing it to John.
I mean, yeah, dating in the city right now is pretty hard. You go to bars and you don't really want to go out with the intention of like, yeah, I'm going to try to meet with somebody or whatever. You kind of want that like organic rom-com, like, oh, a vodka soda, I'll buy you one too, and then sparks. I don't know. That's Hollywood, but I mean,
Right.
at least from my experience, it's just like it's a lot of, like Gavin said, just trial and error. There's so many options. There's the apps, which are like I feel kind of sucking the joy out of meeting people in real life.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's weird when you try to like you meet someone on an app and you're like, oh hey, like we have a nice conversation. You meet them in person and they're like dry, and you're like, damn. We just text this entire date.
Does not match
Their real life personality.
That's the worst.
It's like, how do you unmatch with someone when they're right in front of you? Like, swipe left. Go home.
You've already committed. It's too late. You sat down to dinner.
I mean, there's always that, like, run to the bathroom and hide. No. No, I'm not. It's been the other way around.
oh no.
See, but that's like the funny thing about like coming from. I mean, I've been with my fiance now for 9 years, but like the funny story that I have with her is the fact that she actually saw me on Tinder when I was single, and she swiped left or no, right? I haven't used Tinder forever, but yeah, like she didn't want to talk to me, and we were working in the same place, but she found me on Tinder, and she's like, no, and I'm like, okay, crazy. But then, kind of the idea of like, well, we don't know your personality. It's kind of like behind the screen, like, who are you? But it's not once you start getting to know someone that you kind of start like, okay, well, then maybe we could have, connected via Tinder. But instead, meeting organically in person, having a conversation, and kind of going from there. I think to echo kind of what you said, it's toxic. Like those apps, like they really do kind of suck the soul out of dating. You're just kind of another number at that point.
Right.
Window shopping.
Exactly. That's such a great way of putting it. It's window shopping, right? Unless you go in and try it on, like you're never gonna know. And that's about it, right? Hey, man. I mean, listen.
Try it on.
Try it on. That's a phrase. But
I do want to say, Mike and I actually met on a dating app. We used Okay, Cupid. Yes, blanked on the name.
Okay, yeah.
I will say that we matched, I think, once or twice before we actually tried to meet.
Oh, yeah, that's
because like we were, I don't know, it was like it was a high 80s that gave, because the way it works, because the way it works is it makes you take questionnaire after questionnaire and then eventually develops a matching score as long as people answer those same questions.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest block for I think us to agree meeting was the distance, because I was living in Elgin, an hour away from him in Romeoville, and it's like that's far. I don't want to have to drive an hour to see you and then an hour to get back home.
Right.
Eventually, we just said, "Screw it, we'll do that," and that was 11 years ago.
Like the apps really did like to be gay in the suburbs, and I imagine your experience like in Virginia, like the apps really did change the game, but like for better and for worse. Like it was suddenly like you're on a college campus and you really don't know what the gay community, especially like I didn't really have great access to the city, so it wasn't like I could just go to Boys Town and meet people. So suddenly Grindr starts happening, and you are suddenly able to go, well, when they're not torsos, you can suddenly go, oh my God, that kid's in my biology class. He's gay? What? Oh my God. Like, because you would never know otherwise. There's no, like, it's not like you're wearing a giant, like, thing on your...
Right, like, I'm gay.
You're not doing that.
Some of them don't have to, others...
Do anyway.
Yeah, I mean,
There's some things on the gate on. You're like,
yeah, it's like
Gotcha.
walking to class straight. Hello. And like, but like, I don't think I would have ever met Brandon without the apps. Because I certainly wouldn't have, like, left the bubble, quote unquote, in any way. Like going downtown for me, even after school, especially, was a luxury. Like that was an expense I had to like plan for. So like, the apps really allowed me to actually meet people that were also interested in men. Instead of being like, oh, going out and being like, oh, you would just be so good. You'd love my daughter. It's like, no, I wouldn't. We'll go to the mall.
I think there's also like a safety or comfortability with like being gay and being on the apps, and like because like you said, like you wouldn't know if somebody is interested in men also, if they're gay, and you don't. I think the fear of rejection, because if you walk up to somebody like, hey, I think you're attractive, and they're like, I ain't gay, or like I'm not gay, or like that's and it's very like there's like a fear of that.
It can shield you from a lot of that potential hurt, emotional and possibly physical, if it gets if you're unlucky enough.
Exactly. There's a safety in that too. So apps can be positive in that situation, to kind of feel that comfortability.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Even in just in my experience, like on dating on the apps, like the audience, like the listeners, like they pretty much know this, but yeah, it's like I've been on like 180 something dates, and you all know about the Google Calendar stories.
The Google Calendar.
You calendar out your dates?
The roses.
Yeah, there's like a rose for each date.
It's always the roses.
Each first date has like a rose next to it. Now, if I was to like put what do you call it, like a rose next to each date, whether it was like a third date or a fourth date, oh my god, my numbers would be like in the 300-400s. It'd be ridiculous. So we're not going to count the third and fourth dates, but just first date, first dates.
Do we clap for that?
I will.
But I guess but I guess what I'm trying to say is we all have different experiences on the apps for sure, and like I do think that the culture has changed. Whereas like if you did not meet somebody on the dating apps, it's like, whoa, you met that person in real life? Ew, you didn't meet that person on a dating app? Like, what the fuck?
You talked to a human?
Right.
In front of you?
You met at a bar? How trashy.
Oh my god, you're right.
That is the dream, though.
Right, exactly.
Let's be honest. We'd like to meet in real life.
Exactly. Like in theory, right? Like theoretically, yes. Like it would be perfect to just meet somebody in real life and not have to go through the apps. But yeah,
I'm going to honestly say, yeah, that is the truth for me. I tried the apps and it panned out for nothing. Got a lot of just the likes and then the hellos and then nothing else after that. So me and my current partner literally met in person. But we got to know each other prior. So, our relationship was a little bit different. Like, we became friends before we became, partners. So it's a major difference when you talk to someone and get to know them. Because, I am the old man of this group. I'm not going to lie. But I'm a little, but still.
We're all 22.
So I grew up.
right, we're all 22.
Oh, yeah, no, it's true. We're all 22. But, growing up, trying to get to know someone was important because we didn't have, the cell phones, that can do what they do now. It was still a phone call. Grade school was still the rotary phones, the touch dials, the caller IDs,
Parents on the other line.
Mom, get off the phone! Stuff like that.
The internet knocks you off your call.
Someone,
Get off the internet.
Yeah. Someone gets on dial up and all of a sudden it's like
Trying to use any of those on
yeah.
computer on dial-up.
Oh lordy, no, yeah. So there is a very there's a unique difference when you definitely meet someone and you talk to somebody organically through whatever, and you get to know them that way as opposed to just staring at someone whose profile. We've all experienced and seen it. Like people just do whatever they can to catch someone's eye. That's what it becomes of it. It's not just a simple picture yourself, but literally some action happening, or next to a nice car, or in your trip to some sort of mountain somewhere. Those unique ones that grab your attention are the ones people pair it. But if you're just sitting there just hey, you're instantly swipe.
My fish.
And the filters.
And the filters.
The fucking
That's probably the
filters.
newest thing ever. Yeah, it's that is not you at all.
Do these cameras have filters?
Hold on, we'll see. Hold on. No, it's not working.
Gasoline filter.
Oh, okay, fine.
Can we edit a filter? Or
Yeah.
just
Whoever, can we just
Right. Filter it right now. No, for sure. And I really appreciate just hearing all these different perspectives. And yeah, to the listeners out there, and side note, I hope you all are actually watching this episode because I know we got 7 people here, so you may not know who's talking when or whatever. And I'm not going to ask my guests to say their name before they talk. Hi, I'm Rich. Anyway, my opinion is So we're not going to do that. So that's why I'm just recommending you all watch this. So you can watch this on YouTube, youtube.com/@Situaseanspod. Or if you're on Spotify, you can just click on the episode and it'll pop up the video. You can watch the video on Spotify. So yes.
Apparently we can barely remember our own names, so this is
Herbal face cream.
Right.
herbal face face food.
Yes, herbal face food.
Herbal face
We'll
food.
get it right by the end.
And
We'll
that's
get
how,
it right by the end.
and that's how Situaseans podcast lost its partnership.
I'm sorry we failed.
Just every single time we say it, just have someone
trying.
edit in what the word actually is. Yeah, voice over it over. Yeah.
Right. We live in the age of AI. They can like fix this somehow.
Step it over with herbal face food.
Most monotone robot voice ever.
They just freeze at the camera, look, just like freeze with your face open. That way they just like whole face foods can just go right in there.
So one of the other questions that I really want to ask you all is, are there any like funny or interesting dating stories from your past that you would like to share with our audience?
How did you know?
We just immediately panned over to Juan Sedonio.
I'm not going first.
Because I got a good one.
Gavin's got to go.
Oh wait, that's right, Gavin.
No, Juan can go first.
Because I know you.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to make this short and sweet. So talking to this guy, we're just very casual. We had a great like chemistry, obviously, texting and everything. Never met him in person, but we were gonna meet up, and he was like, "Hey, I heard you have plans tonight. Maybe we can do something next week." He said he's going on out with somebody that he met on date. I'm like, that's fine. We're all dating a variety of people. That's fine. We're not serious. So we end up going to this bar. It's not the vibe. Like, he had recommended the bar. Show up. It's not the vibe. And I'm like, already red flag. You didn't pick a good place. Like, come on. You didn't review it before. Anyways, so I get there. We get the drinks. 7 minutes maybe go by, and he's like, "Hey, so my friend is gonna stop by." And I was like, "What?" He's like,
"Wow."
He's like, "Yeah, is that okay?" And I'm like,
It's a public place.
laugh, I was like, "What?"
Unhinged.
He was like, "Oh, it's not anything like that. It's just a friend." I'm like, "When you say that, okay, cool. You probably met on a dating app, because that's, friends, whatever."
Yeah.
So this guy shows up, and it's now the three of us. So we're just like hanging out, but it's like, I was like, do I leave? Do I stay? I'm like, I'm already here, so I might as well just stay, right? So we're at the bar. It's fine. It's very awkward. And then we're like, okay, let's go to Boys Town. Let's go, keep the night going. It's fine. Well, turns out I had a better connection with the friend.
Jerry.
Right? I was like, nah, I don't really care. Like, at this point, you brought a friend. So what did you expect me to like?
Yeah.
And like the person that I was on the date with, he just was not like talking, engaging. He wasn't asking me questions. And I tried to like talk with him. I'm like, you know what? I'm enjoying having a great, flirty conversation with the friend.
Yeah.
So whatever. So we get to the bar. We're hanging out. It's the three of us. We get probably like 3 or 4 drinks or whatever. And then the guy that was officially, I guess, the date person, he was like, "Hey, have you ever had a threesome?"
Is it bad that like that's what I thought was gonna happen?
And I was like, I mean, yeah, but like, and like at this point, it was like 3 or 4 drinks. So like, I was like, ask him, like, just ask. And sure enough, the friend didn't want to, like, he was like, maybe someday, but like not right now. And like, cause he had to wake up, whatever, that's fine. So the friend ended up leaving. And then the guy, he was like, so when was the last time you were like with somebody? And I was like, why does it matter?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I was like, right now you're like, okay. So, he was like, well, I haven't been with somebody for 2 years, like intimate. And I was like, oh, okay. And you wanted to
Making up for lost time.
help it make sense. Like, I don't get it.
Full send.
So then, like, at this point, I was just like, okay, well, like, maybe we can, we're already here. We can go back to my house, like, whatever. We're young, we're single, whatever. So I was like, yeah, we could go back to my place. Like, if you want, like, that's fine. And he was like, well, if I come over, can I leave in the morning? And I was like, no, like that's not gonna work. I was like, you're not staying over. Like we just met, whatever. He got crazy mad. Like he was like, I can't believe that you came out here. I can't believe that you brought me out here and I spent all this money in this Uber. And I'm just like, what is happening? Right. I was like, am I being filmed? I'm like, first of all,
your responsibility.
all this stuff. And then he was also like, okay, well, I guess I can, we can, I don't have to stay overnight, but like if we sleep together, like I don't want you to sleep with anybody else. And I was like,
excuse you, we're not an item. Like, yeah.
First of all, threesome, you went on another date last week.
Right.
Now I'm like, you need to get your life together before anything.
This guy's all over.
And he was just because I was like, I can't promise you that. Like, this is our first date. What are you talking about? And he just like went off. He was angry and like all this crazy stuff. And he was like, I just want to go home. I just want to get my Uber. And I was like, sure, that's fine. Like, be my guest. And he was like, will you at least wait for me to get an Uber?
Oh my God.
And I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, sure, because I'm a nice guy. And I was like, sure, I will wait with you to get an Uber. I was like, I just need you out of my sight right now. Sure enough, the Uber shows up and it's like across the street. And I'm like, I think that's your Uber. And he's like, I don't even know. I don't even fucking know. And I'm like, pull out. He was very drunk at this point, so whatever. Oh yeah, I guess like 4 drinks, right? But like, I feel like even if you're like really drunk, you shouldn't be acting like a complete asshole.
Right.
So, anyways, he was like,
What he's gonna be like.
So it ended up. He was like, will you at least walk me to my Uber? And I was like,
Oh, for God's sake.
I was like, if that's how I can get you out of here, close the door, adios. Like, no thanks. So yeah, crazy times in dating worlds.
Wow, yeah. Unhinged on that guy's part, like, yeah.
Very.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for being vulnerable and sharing that with us, Gavin. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. Like, it's like my number one story right now. Because it's like,
we love a good story.
You want to know a crazy dating story? I got you.
You deliver. Go all the way the fuck off. Speaking of go all the way the fuck off, get your go all the way the fuck off t-shirt. Go to situationspodcast.com, click on the merch tab. And if you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see the t-shirt pop up right here next to me on the screen. You see this go all the way the fuck off t-shirt? Oh, it's so beautiful. Get it. All right.
I would have worn one if you would have brought one. Like we're right, like I've just been like, hey, like
right?
you should have brought one for me.
Editor photoshopped this all on, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Editors, we're looking at you. Trying to improve your skincare game? Guess what? I got a little something for you. You can improve the health of your skincare with the Vogue approved. Yes, you heard that right. Vogue as in Vogue magazines, the models. Yes, that Vogue. The Vogue approved beauty product, Herbal Face Food, the most potent anti-aging, multi-correction skincare product on the market. Yes. So hit that link in the show notes or video description and use our code SPHFF to get 20% off at checkout. Visit herbalfacefood.com to get started. That's herbalfacefood.com. All right. And use code S as in Sam, P as in pineapple, H as in Henry, F as in Frank, F as in Frank to get 20% off at checkout. That's SPHFF to get 20% off. All right. herbalfacefood.com. Okay. Y'all got the hookup. So let them know that Situaseans podcast sent you. All right. Any other dating stories from the past or any crazy, wild?
Mine are so PG. Doesn't even.
You mean you weren't asked for a threesome?
No, surprisingly not. No.
I feel bad because I feel like I don't want to do it at this gentleman's expense. Like I feel like I tell a story, I'm like,
Oh, he'll never know.
He'll never know.
And if
He'll
you
never
are
know.
this gentleman,
If you are this gentleman,
make sure you
hi
click
again.
that subscribe button.
Yes. Yeah, that was just mental. Yeah, like please, if you happen to be a subscriber, thank you. Also, that was our date was a date, and thank you for that. I was in the suburbs. We were, on the apps, and I had met this gentleman, and he was literally 5 minutes up the road, and to have that. It was like, oh my God, you're actually close by. Like, hi. And we started talking, and he seems really interested. He seems really excited. And so we're like, hey, why don't we, do you want to meet up in person? And I always tend to be I was a little bit scared. I had roommates at the time, and one of the roommates had a child, and the child lived with us. So I was like, okay, I'm not just going to invite you as a total stranger into my house. Let's find some place to go. We'll go get dinner. We'll make something a little less grindery, even though we're meeting on Grindr. And so we pick a restaurant in the middle. We go and meet. I'm a little early. I get us a table. I sit down. This gentleman just kind of bursts in. And I think I recognize now, he's maybe having some sort of manic episode, and I just don't know that. I'm too dumb at the time, and I'm happy to be having a date at all. So we sit down, and we order drinks. He's just firing off questions and being flirty, and we're talking back and forth. And I'm like, oh, this is going really well. He's really interested. He's really engaged. We order food, drinks have come, we're having a great time. And he just goes, you want to get out of here? I'm like, what do you mean? Right now when we've ordered, it's no, we want to get out of here right now. And it's yeah, the dick kicks in. Absolutely. And so we
That needs to be a t-shirt.
And so we dine and dash. I'm really sorry, we did not pay that bill. No, we got drinks though. We got the drinks and we'd ordered everything, but but still, I feel bad. We just we leave, run out the door.
You didn't order food and make the server actually work on.
I hope not. I don't know the rules, but we go back to my place. He's still living with his parents. I am not. So, but my roommates and my roommate's son, they're there. And so we haven't eaten. We're going back, and I was like, "Oh shit, I've never done this before." And we're gonna walk in with a stranger, and they just might be in the living room. So I walk in, and it's hey everybody, this is. It's
her name, yes.
And as soon as we walk in, my roommate used to purchase food she was going to have to survive a nuclear bomb. So there was 6 months of cereal just littered across the top of our house, more than any human could possibly eat. Love you if you ever see this. Hi, we're still really close. But as soon as we walk in, he sees that and he goes, "Oh my God, I could just eat 3 boxes of that cereal right now," and he makes a dash for the kitchen. And
if we stayed at the restaurant.
yeah, I was really confused. Okay. I look at my roommate, and she's like, okay, sure. And he's just he's grabbing these cereal boxes off the shelves, oh, you know what? Don't worry about this. I will pay you back. I'm totally on food stamps. And I was and I haven't told you his name yet, and you're just taking his food. And so I'm grabbing bowls and I'm getting milk out, and he's making a mess in this kitchen, and he's I'm so sorry to people who may be offended by me saying this. I swear to God, this is what he said. I am not taking this out of any context. He's oh my God, I'm making a mess, but don't worry, I can clean it up. I'm Mexican. And I'm really good at that. And I was oh my God. Sounds about right. I was
That sounds about right.
the three adults are we're all white folks. And we're just what do we do with that statement?
Do we agree or do we let it go? Do we agree or do we let it go?
And so he starts just cleaning up ourselves. He's slamming down this cereal. And it's yeah, where's your bedroom? I'm okay. It's so we go. I should take him to my bedroom, and it's not maybe ready for this, but whatever. It's great. And we start making out. It's you know what? Can you take me home? And it's wait, what?
Oh.
Yeah, can you but wait, why? Yeah, I just you just take me home right now. And wait, what? You drove yourself. No, you need to come with me. Why? You live with your parents, though. I do not. We can. No, just let's go home. Let's go to my place. And it's oh, okay. I'm not going to give up. So we get in the car. So we get.
But you probably should.
I should have stopped right there. Adult me now understands, but we go to his house, and he immediately introduces me to his parents.
Oh no!
His parents are he is the first generation American in that family. His parents do not speak that much English, but he's introducing them to me anyway. And they're trying to speak to me. I'm just like, hi. I'm
so
the,
stressed.
I don't know what to say. Like, I'm the dick appointment. Like, I don't know what to say. What do you say to something? Like, I don't know what to say to these people. Like, this is not how you want to make a first impression. and so we go back.
You just go, hola, me llamo Dick. No.
I believe it's pronounced Richard. Thank you very much. Like, no. But so we go back to his room, and his room's a mess, like an absolute. So we start like literally cleaning off his bed, like putting stuff away, to like so that we have a space.
He wanted to clean.
Wait, this is the long
And so
con.
at the, and so
He's literally making you work for the Dick, literally.
so we do the whole we clean off the bed, and we sit on the bed and we start making out, and it's like, no, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I think that's absolutely what this was. It's like, you wanted me to clean his room. I cleaned his room in hopes that I would get some dick.
Oh my goodness.
And I got nothing.
I use dating apps the wrong way. I'm telling you. There's a whole new way to use dating apps.
Help me clean up, right?
I was like, at no point in this story did I see where this was going. Like, the turns.
It's really embarrassing, but I just was really horny. It's hard to find people in the burbs that are nearby. 1 hour drive, case in point.
All the craziest.
Those, oh my God, those are really funny.
That's Grinder for you.
Oh my goodness. So like besides like John, has anybody else been on a podcast before, or anybody else listen to podcasts normally?
Podcast virgin.
Podcast virgin, all right.
I was on
I've
one
been on one.
podcast.
Ooh, all right.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore, but
It still counts.
it
still
was a
counts.
podcast. Yeah,
All
talking
right.
about music and life. And
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
things
You
like
know,
that.
I was on one. I don't think it doesn't exist anymore. But it was a geek. It was called the Anger Geeks. So I mean, it was a fun one to be a part of. But yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay, so about almost half the group have been on the podcast before. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
And also kind of just wanted to know too, as far as like, like theater and a theater environment, like now let's kind of dive deep into like our element here. So how long have you all been doing theater? We can kind of just do like a little round table, like whoever wants to start.
Basically, theater started for me back in high school. So that was 1999.
Young man here.
Young man. But
I wasn't born yet.
that's just hard facts. But yeah, so high school, 1999 for me. Never experienced theater before because my grade school didn't have a theater program at all. I did talent shows, so I did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, introduced to theater in 1999. It was for English class. They were just like, hey, we're gonna go see a show that they were putting on, and it was Peter Pan the musical. So that was the first time. And for me, I think that's where the theater bug bit me, was because I chose center section for the whole performance, and the Peter Pan was a senior, and it was his final year. So they rented a whole fly system, so they were flying everybody around. And for his final bow, they actually had it so that he could fly into the audience. So which was really cool, and that was experience. It's like me standing here and then him like getting flown into the audience, like throwing like pixie dust and everybody, and I was just like, "What is this? Like magic!" Like I suddenly was engulfed by it, and then I started it, then and just became a part, and then it's still part of my life. But I mean, I learned everything from there. Just on stage, off stage, like everything. So for me, that's how it was for me. So
Love that.
Yeah.
That. Yeah. Who else?
Well, I guess we're going this way.
I guess we're going.
Reverse. I've been doing theater since I was 10. I can't pinpoint the year at the current moment, but it's been something I've always loved to do. I got my theater bug by watching the high school doing MASH. It's not like the best play, but I also love the show, and I don't know. It was just it was awesome. They did like quick changes, like in split seconds. Like the light would flash, they'd be in Sailor, then Army. I don't know. It was just really cool. But I've continued with like theater, I played sports. I continued in college, studied abroad in Moscow, Russia for 3 months at the school Mahat. And currently trying to do stand-up and integrate that into my theater life and still do other shows whenever I can in the Chicagoland area.
Jon, you're way too humble. This man just did his stand-up comedy over at Second City. So I highly recommend you all follow Jon and follow his journey.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, you rocked it, man. So, yeah.
Great job.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I started, I guess around that age 10, like 5th grade. It was kind of mandatory for us, the music class. We were doing Swierzewski, and she made all of us in the class audition and whatnot. And I got to be in the group with like my closest friends, and we got to sing and whatnot. Didn't really know about anything about musicals or Swierzewski, the musical in general. And I love turtles, and I wanted Yertle the turtle.
Aww.
So that's what I was
Did you
going
get
for.
Yertle?
I did not get Yertle the turtle, but instead, my music teacher saw some potential in me. I also did not speak English very well at that time, but she cast me as Horton. Here's Horton.
Wow, the lead. Okay, let's go.
So I guess I was kind of disappointed because I didn't get Yertle the turtle. But you know what? I was happy
How
at the
dare
end.
you cast me as the lead role?
How dare you? Doing it Yertle.
Right?
When they had the parent-teacher conference, they were trying to invite my parents to come see the show, and my mom just couldn't believe, like, why do I need to see this musical? Like, why? I don't. And she was like,
Yeah.
and then my teacher was like, your son's the lead. And she was like, what? He doesn't sing. He doesn't act. He's the lead. And she was like, okay, I guess I'll go. But yeah, I've been doing that since fifth grade. I took a break in middle school just because of the environment that I was in. Did not like the middle school that I was a part of. And then I moved to a different middle school. And from there on, I started doing more theater and more art-related things. So yeah, I'm still doing it.
Right
and
on.
I'm happy for it.
Love it.
Also went to Moscow, Russia to study abroad for 3 months.
All right.
It was intense.
Love it.
I actually didn't grow up doing theater. I did grow up playing music. I started in 6th grade. I started playing in band. Funny story about that was I wanted to do band, but like my family, we couldn't afford to like rent an instrument. So I walk in, it's like, hey, 6th grade band, what do you play? It's like nothing. So like, what do you have for me that doesn't cost me money? Yeah. And they're like, well, we have this tuba. I'm like, sold. I'm like, I will learn to play the tuba. And so that was kind of like my middle school, high school, and part of college. And the closest thing I got to theater in high school was playing in the pit orchestra for a couple of years. But I never really saw myself on stage. I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool. Like they're dancing and singing, and I'm playing the music down here, so it's kind of fun. And it wasn't until 2 years ago, with my fiance, she's like, she really loves theater. She did it in high school. She was doing it a little bit in college, and then did it outside of it. And she's like, why don't you do theater? I'm like, I never sang in front of anybody. I've never acted in my life. And she's like, yeah, but it'd be a fun kind of doing things together kind of experience. Because, she would go 3 days a week out, and then we would hang out. She's like, well, I kind of miss you. Like, we should do things together. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's give it a shot. And, the rest is history. It's been 2 years, and I love it. Like, I love acting. I love singing. And I'm sad that I didn't start it sooner, because I feel like I would have met a lot of wonderful people, because I don't really talk to any of my high school friends. So I feel like I would have met wonderful people in like a similar space, and would have been more involved with something that's a lot of fun, even at this point in my life.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that one.
Yeah.
And I think I speak for the group by saying, I'm glad that you did theater, because I'm glad that I met you. I'm glad that we, that we all did a show with you. So, yeah.
We like you. Please keep hanging out with us.
Right. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, can you do me a really quick favor? Can you please rate and review this podcast? Like hit that 5-star review, because, and I do read all the reviews because this helps me know how this podcast is helping others and how, this podcast is serving you, because my job as a host is to serve you this podcast the way that you would prefer it to be.
I started theater because my older brother was in theater, and I grew up in a musical family, so music was kind of always a part of our lives. But my first show was Guys and Dolls. That was kind of like my first, I guess, big show. I did like church musicals, but I don't really count those. They're just, whatever. But yeah, so theater, starting with Guys and Dolls. And I did theater basically just middle school into my 9th grade. And then I stopped doing theater until 2016. So that would have been probably like 8 years that I kind of took a break during high school and also college. And my choir teacher was like, hey, you should come out for Godspell because I think you'd be great for this role. And I was like, well, I haven't done theater in a long time, but why not? So I auditioned, and it was like the best experience. Like for me, I can never do Godspell again just because of the impact that it made like on me and the cast itself. Like I'm still really good friends with a lot of those people. And yeah, so then I kind of started getting back into theater. And then when I moved to Chicago, it's kind of been my like Kickstarter of like do all the shows possible, because I just like love theater. And now I'm music directing shows and also performing in shows as well. So trying to do it professionally here and, trying to get booked. But for now, it's like, just perform, enjoy it. And, that was kind of my being in Chicago, like a new resident. That was how I made friends, because I didn't really make friends anywhere else but theater. And now all of you and the rest of theater friends that I've made have been like my closest people. So
yay! Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for moving here and staying here.
I know there was a thought that I would move back to Virginia. I was like, no, I love these people too much. No, I love Chicago too much and everybody. So
exactly, yeah.
All right. So I did not grow up with any theater involvement in my life, really. Except maybe on occasion my mom might take us to a show, and if she did, I have no memory of them. Any musical experience I had, like music, I should say, recorder in 3rd grade, like every other school in the world. Can't really count that.
Can't get it on
Right.
Piano lessons for 4.5 years where I did not learn how to read music.
Oh.
I am not exaggerating.
Oh wow!
Wait, we need to find this piano teacher and get them fired. Like what?
To that point, both the keyboard I had at home and the one that she had at the music store had a little digital screen on there, and it had the staff on there, and it would show you the note you played when you pressed the key. And what I would do is I would look at my sheet music, press the keys until it matched, and go to the next one.
Wow.
I did memorize music that way.
Smart.
I got it. It took a hell of a lot of time and effort, but I did it. And so practicing never was really something I enjoyed doing as a result. Wait, recorder was in 6th grade or something. I don't remember. But cello I tried in 3rd grade. I stopped that because I was, what? How old are you in 3rd grade?
About like
9?
6, 7.
So,
You're 8.
Yeah,
in
an
3rd grade,
8-year-old trying to
9,
I teach.
an 8-year-old trying to use a cello doesn't really work very well. I gave up after probably a few weeks because A, I couldn't reach the fucking thing, and B, it was eating into my recess. But as far as actual theater, that didn't start until August of 21.
Was that Frankenstein?
With Young Frankenstein in Bolingbrook, yes, because I thought well, I saw Mike do Guys and Dolls there that summer, and I went to a couple of the shows. I hung out with him and some of the cast, and I was asked at the cast party when I got invited, what will it take for you to audition at the next show? And I thought, fuck it, why not? I have nothing better to do. I'm sitting at home playing video games otherwise. Why not?
Yeah.
The worst that happens is I don't like it or I'm so bad at it, I will not do it again. Fortunately, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
And it's now been 2.5 years, math.
You're about to be 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years, August 28th. 3 years, August 28th.
Right, today's Today.
But I think we're on our 6th or 7th show at this point. I don't remember.
You've caught up very quickly.
And you had some really
Yes.
great roles too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but and like Juan said, my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner, and so I could have started enjoying this sooner, making these friendships sooner, and these connections sooner. It's the only thing I regret, and maybe I would have started reading music sooner.
Still struggling with that one.
It's good advice for like dating if you're a theater person. Meet your partner outside of theater and then drag them in.
Yes. We can
working
do
on
this
it.
Yes,
fully.
yes. 40 chests up in here. Oh gosh. Oh.
That sounds a little culty, but okay.
Theater just one
Make
big
one of us.
Exactly.
That's a cold.
Be a pug.
No, not at all. Oh, I was singing since as long as I can remember, and my parents had no idea what to do with it. Like they did. Like,
This kid just won't shut up.
yeah, they tried to put me into like sports, and I was god awful at that. And then they were fine. By the time they were like ready to like start me in like music, I was so like burned by the sports that I was like, I don't trust you. No, I don't care what you want to sign me up for. I'm not doing it. And so I didn't start like proper until 5th grade, because you could pick band or choir, and I wanted to pick band because I was playing guitar by that point, and they wouldn't let you play guitar in a band. That's not what the band is. And I was mad and I was spiteful, so I was like, well, I'm gonna join the choir. And like, that was literally 5th grader logic. And there really wasn't much of a theater program until high school. I started that my sophomore year. West Side Story was my first show. And I didn't stop from there. I did it through college, did it a little bit after college, then reality sets in and you start working and things don't make sense. The time becomes hard to find. And so the space between the shows got really, really far apart for a long time. And then COVID happened.
Oh yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
COVID was a really good excuse to be like, why are you doing this to yourself? Get out of the house, live your life. And so I was so grateful to like find theater again and stick with it. I think since 21, it's at least another 8, 9 shows since that. Like it just,
Wow.
I don't want to stop. I'm worried if I stop now, it'll be 10 more years before I do it again. So it's like,
Right. Exactly.
I just, yeah.
Exactly.
I just end up being in the audience going, I should have auditioned for that thing.
Remember how we all pushed you to audition for Beauty and the Beast when you initially didn't want to do it?
Yeah, I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm good. I've done the show.
I'm so
fun
glad
show.
you did it. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Lumiere.
Lumiere.
It's never too late to go back and do the thing that you like doing.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you all for sharing that. You know, yeah, it's so important for like the audience to kind of like understand like your stories and what brought you, you know, what makes you you and what brought you into like this theater space since we're talking about it. And you know, I think most of you know, but like in my own experience, like I started doing theater in kindergarten only because, I just wanted to like kind of. So I grew up in like an abusive household, whatever. So trigger warning for the audience. They pretty much know this, but stepdad was abusive towards me and my siblings, put hands on us, the whole thing. But I wanted an escape from that dark reality. So my school was doing The Lion King. And so I'm dating myself here right now because I'm really, The Lion King was like brand spanking new or whatever at the time. And so our kindergarten class put on a production of Lion King, and I got to play Zazu, and I was like so excited. I was like, and like I remember asking my kindergarten teacher, I was like, Mr. Mitchell, why did you give me like Zazu? He was like, well, Sean, you're very loud and you talk a lot.
Calling you out. And now you do a podcast.
Shout out to
Shout out to Mr. Mitchell.
He started it.
Right, exactly. So so after that, I was like, wow, I like playing make believe and getting out the house and just doing this. I just kept doing it. Took a break in college. I did do grade school, high school. Took a break in college, kind of focus on work and school. And then it wasn't until 2018 that I got back into it, because after my divorce and everything, I was like, I want to do me. And the first show that I did after a long hiatus was The Hunchback with Jacqueline Schultz. And so shout out to Jacqueline.
Shout out to Jacqueline. Phenomenal
Yes,
show.
and shout out to Jacqueline right now. So she just ended Anastasia. So
Yes. We ended Anastasia.
It was fantastic.
And it was fantastic. We're so sorry you missed it.
But so here now. I love theater. I don't think I'm ever gonna stop. And just like you all, I'm so glad that we're doing theater together, doing shows together. And the one thing that I can say, I'm not gonna even name this theater, but I'm glad that this theater brought us together, because that's the only value that I got from that theater.
Cough, cough.
We'll leave it at that.
But that's pretty much it, so kind of like taking it a little bit step deeper is, I really want to know, like, what do you think about dating other people in the theater space? Like, is it okay? Yeah, you recommend it, or is like, nah, I don't recommend it. With all the showmances, I just want to know everyone's thoughts.
Okay.
I was like, Rich, how did you get your brother?
I'm going to call it out right now. but
He's like, no.
Yikes.
Just kidding.
We're gonna let Rich talk first, and then we can go.
No. He just panned it over here. Okay. No. So honestly, that is it can be a very touchy subject. I mean, there are certain situations that work and some situations that don't work. Obviously, we all know the term showmance. That's something where normally you just have a connection with someone on stage, and then you are faking a relationship or whatever else, and it sort of blossoms into something more than that, and then you start seeing that person or start hanging out or whatever, and then months later it fizzles out, dies out, whatever. So showmance. But there are some situations where you can find yourself actually genuinely meeting someone and having a lot of interests the same, and then it just kind of leads into that more as you progress on. And I mean, for myself, like, it was a situation where I wasn't looking for that relationship. It was a friendship that really was just just starting off and everything else, and it just continued being that, and became more of a support system and talking to one another, and just really just being there for that person. And then as it progressively got further and further down the road, past a show, going into another show, and going into another show, that it finally blossomed in what it did. Yeah. So I mean, there are some positive things when you are dating someone within the theater space, but I mean for me personally, yeah, it's I've always kind of been worried about trying to, date someone when you're in a show with them. I always kind of go, okay, if you have a common connection with someone in that show, then keep that as that. And then once the show's over, then pursue it. Because then you might actually truly see that person who they are, or actually see that connection was truly genuine after which. Yeah. Because sometimes you could do a show and never go back to that theater ever again. But if you still keep that connection with that person, still talk, still text, still hang out, still whatever, start going on dates, then, it does turn out to be something really magical then for you. But if you are only into it where you're just in a show, and then you start seeing let's not hang out, I've got some, then you start noticing it's probably going to be a show, man. So it's hard. It's a catch-22. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I mean, I'm blessed that it worked out for me, and the route that it went for me was definitely a friendship that blossomed into what it became, and it's really great, because that actually really helped us bond more, because we knew each other's like hurts and stuff like that. It was more of a true support system for each other, because we both had come from very hard relationships and everything else, and it was just, we just kind of gravitated to each other, but not like trauma gravitated, but it was just, we generally were really good friends that were just kind of going, you're like me. You actually like care for someone in this way, not just, it's not just physical. It was more just spiritual. It was more just like caring, a good heart, all that stuff. So like I said, it's sometimes can be great, sometimes it can't be. But for me, like I said, I'm blessed that it was really a positive thing, and it's been still going strong for as long as it has. So yeah.
Right on. Love it. Is there anybody in the group that's like, nah, dating in theater just didn't work for me?
To be honest, I was actually surprised with how many straight guys are in theater. And I was like, where are the gays? No, I'm just kidding. But I did have somebody, after we had met like the first rehearsal, 2 rehearsals, I guess, they found me on the apps, and then they like tried to hit me up via the app, and I was like, I'm okay. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to start anything during the show, like maybe after the show. But I was like, I'm here to be a part of the show. I'm here to like do what I'm here to do, like perform. Mm-hmm. I'm not trying to like work with like relationship kind of thing. So
yeah,
I also wasn't super interested. So that,
Also, yeah.
I was like, okay, this is not going to work. But also like, I was
issue.
like, maybe, but then I was like, no, I don't think that's gonna be,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I haven't ever dated anybody in the theater world.
Okay. Yeah, and I know, and like, our good friend Antonio, shout out Antonio. He
Other Brotherhood.
right? He loves dating, but he's here in spirit. He loves dating.
That's the way I call it.
No, but I was gonna say, like, he loves dating in the theater space, yeah. And I think John and I was talking about this in John's episode, and then we were talking about this in Antonio's episode. Can't remember what episode Antonio was, but check out his episode as well after you check out this episode and after you check out John's episode. But anyway, Antonio, who's part of the Situaseans cinematic universe. He prefers, dating in the theater space. So I was just like, I think hearing his opinion, I was like, damn, that's the first time I've ever heard somebody say that they exclusively prefer dating in the theater space. Usually it's like people's like, we, met in the show, it worked out or whatever, or we met in the show and it didn't work out. But Antonio was just like, yeah, I prefer it because I feel like I got to know that person because we've been in that production long enough, or, and if we, hang out past the production, okay, this could lead somewhere if it's meant to be.
I mean, I can see how that would make sense. You all bond over that shared experience of being in the show, and you can get hopefully a better feel for them as a person in between rehearsals if the cast goes out for after or post-rehearsal hangouts and whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then we're all actors, so are you really meeting the real us?
Well, no, exactly. Like piggybacking
Dun, dun,
off of
dun.
that, it's like the theater space in itself is such a place for everyone, as actors can agree. We're vulnerable, and we let sides of us that normally we keep like covered or masked out on stage, and that's how some of those connections or showmances like blossom pretty quickly. You're like, oh, you're looking at me in my eyes.
Yeah,
I love this connection.
Exactly.
But then afterwards we make eye contact, like, oh, never mind. That was just in the moment.
Never mind, you're right.
Never mind. Yeah, those are just color contacts. Yeah. But it's just like, it's just part of like the whole like kind of magic of it all. Like, like we get the audience kind of going like, oh my God, they love each other. But like, us on stage are like, oh my God, they love each other. It's like, no, just the show.
Yeah. Yes. No, for sure. I'm glad that I'm getting to hear so many different opinions, and I love it.
Situaseans podcast is an open platform covering dating, relationships, mental and emotional life experiences. If you are looking to advertise your brand or product, or would like to sponsor the show, send an email to situaseanspod@gmail.com. That's situaseanspod@gmail.com.
There was like one more question that I wanted to ask you all before we kind of get into like the listener submission and everything. So this one is like a really important question too, because I've gotten this from a couple of like my listeners via like DMs and stuff like that. But so, we've definitely seen like a change in like culture, especially like as men, like, whether you're straight, whether you're gay, like whatever you identify as. Growing up, for some reason, society, especially previous generations had taught us the idea of, hey, you're a man, like man the fuck up, or hey, you're a man, you're supposed to provide, like you can't show emotion, you can't show feelings or whatever. But I feel like, especially among this group, I feel like we all have a really good sense of our emotion, and like we have no problem emoting and being vulnerable. And like that's another reason too why I just love being friends with you all, because I get that authentic expression and emotion from you all. And that's another reason why I wanted you all on this podcast. So I just want to know, to the group here, as far as the culture kind of shifting from be a man, we're seeing more men open up, especially on social media and stuff like that. What are your thoughts about that? Like, do you think that it's about time? Like, come on, this should have happened a long time ago. I just want to get the group's thoughts on this.
When I was really, really young, I joined choir in 5th grade, and there was this 2-week little trial period where basically anybody could go, but we weren't committing for the full year. And that first day of that trial period, there was about 18 men in 5th grade. By the end of that trial period, there were 5. A year later, there were 3. A year later after that, there were 2. And it seemed just for these kids, I remember that first time, oh, there's a lot of guys that like this. And a lot of them were just so uncomfortable kind of admitting they were having a good time. It was a little bit more just yeah, I'm having a good time, but it had to be ironically, I think we now say having fun, but it's an ironic fun. It's silly to be here, but we're all liking it. And they just kind of all faded out. And I was they probably would have had a great time. I just think that they felt the pressure to step out of it because it wasn't cool. It wasn't appropriate. The choir was the thing girls did. And that really sucks because a lot of those guys probably would have had a great time, a really cool experience, met people that they liked. It also would have been a great way to meet girls. I don't understand how that never comes into the conversation ever. For some reason, join the choir, meet girls.
Exactly.
But I see now in certain areas, I just saw a friend of ours did a show with her junior high kids, and there were so many guys. I was it's not 50-50, but I was just wow, there's more than 2. That was crazy to me. I love that. I hope that continues.
Yeah.
Up to a point, because after a certain point, then they start becoming your competition as an adult, and I'd also like to get roles.
Right.
Maybe there's a line. I don't think we're there yet, though.
Right.
I mean, I'll go a little bit on that. I think it's interesting to see, and kind of tie back on the social media thing, the idea is much like with mental health, I think the ability for us to kind of be able to see people from over the world or people that we wouldn't interact with, be vulnerable, be able to share how they feel. I think that's one of the upsides of social media and just the connection of the world is, yeah, they're like me. And I think that kind of shows what's with mental health and feelings, they've always existed. All of this has existed, except it's always been hush-hush with the previous generation. And I know that because that's, it's what my dad used to say. It's if you can't handle your own problems, how do you expect someone else to handle them for you?
Right.
So it's you gotta fix your shit before you try to do anything else. But not by sharing it, just by internalizing and fixing it yourself. But I think being able to kind of see that in social media kind of lets you kind of be yeah, there are people like me. It isn't taboo to talk about my mental health. It isn't taboo to talk about how I feel. If I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling happy, if I want to cry, it's okay because there's people who do that just like I do. So that's one of the upsides of social media. And for me, I think it didn't really happen until I actually met my partner, my fiance. Prior to that, I was very much internalizing, kind of keep it all in, don't really share how you feel. And if it does slip out, it was one of those things where it's if it was in front of my family, if anything like that were to slip out, it's well, why are you crying? The whole saying, it's I'll give you something to cry about kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, very common saying in my house. But it wasn't until I met my partner that it actually, I felt comfortable opening up. I felt comfortable, crying in a movie. Now I can actually go out and talk to, people like you guys or anybody else and be yeah, man, I watched that movie. I bawled. Tic Tac Boom. I watched that right before I turned 30. Mm-hmm. I tell people, yeah, I cried at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
10 years ago, me would never have said that out loud. Mm-hmm. I would have been oh yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, that's about it. Even if I would have bawled my eyes out in my own room. Right. But I think it's finding comfortability, finding solidarity, and both online and in person. I think that's what really helps you. kind of be in touch with who you really are.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I definitely agree. And, you know, even like in my mid-20s, I think that's probably like when I started to like kind of open up and be a little bit more open about like my feelings and emotions and stuff like that. Cause I'd never had any problem talking about like, hey, I feel this way, but I guess just in my early 20s, it was rare that I would ever be like, I don't know, I feel hurt. I feel this, you know, I would just be like, I don't like this. You know what I mean? Like I would just kind of just hide it behind the wall. But yeah, it wasn't until like my mid-20s that I was like, wait a minute, like I can talk about my feelings because of course, yeah, you know, like I was just saying earlier, like just growing up, I didn't have a voice. I wasn't allowed to express feelings or anything like that. So just kind of discovering it on my own, I'm like, oh man, it's good to talk about feelings. And now like in my 30s, I'm like, oh man, I fucking love talking about feelings. Let's talk about it.
Welcome to my podcast.
Right?
Welcome to my podcast. Yeah.
Right? We can do a whole podcast about it. What? No, absolutely. Any other thoughts here for the group before?
Well, yeah, no, like, so it's very growing up. Obviously, like we've all said, like it was very much like, you know, you're taught to just keep everything internalized. You were told to just, you know, not cry and, you know, just figure out your own stuff. And you know, you felt like you had to, you know, we had to provide, we had to do all these things. Any of our problems, we just kept to ourselves and we just deal with it later. And, you know, finally, like breaking out and especially in this new age, it's like, it is very important because so many men have crumbled because they've have internalized so much that they just let it consume them, and then they just don't see a way out, you know. And that's very much just kind of like sad because, you know, it's not that hard to talk about emotions, and it's we're all human, you know. We're just as vulnerable and sensitive to things just as much as anyone else. So the fact that now there is this break that we can finally kind of just say how we feel. I mean, because being vulnerable is not a weakness, you know? It's just who we are as humans, and we need to just finally express ourselves and be able to talk to people, and especially also in relationships as well too. It's like you want to be able to express how you feel to your partner. And that was one of the first things that I really was taught with my current partner, was the fact of just expressing how I felt, you know, not just letting it just keep it inside and just going, okay, well, I'll just deal with it. You know, no, you need to express that as a feeling because, you know, communication is so important in a relationship, you know, being able to just talk about how you feel and not letting that then just fester inside you. And then it ends up that you're going to eventually just like dislike your partner because you didn't say how you felt in the moment. You know, so it's just important to have those kind of moments where you finally just say, hey, listen, I just don't like what's happening with this situation. Here's why. And that's what I think to do, is explaining why. Not just saying I don't like this feeling. No, explaining like, why is that happening? What experience did you deal with in your past that made you feel this way? Because then it also helps you grow and heal from that. You know, because, you know, we all as anyone can tell is just, we experience something, we think this is how life is. But it's not. That's just how you were in that situation. Things don't have to be that way. It can be changed. It can be a better situation, but you need to speak up. You need to say something. And that's what it is for us guys. And it's not only just in relationships, but just in life in general. You know, we all have to deal with the fact that, you know, as men, we're supposed to make sure we provide. We have to make sure that we're paying for everything. We need to make sure we supply, you know, a roof over people's heads, food in their bellies, all this stuff. And then especially as you know, if we're a father, I mean, that's just more stress that kind of adds to it. So we need to be able to kind of communicate out there and go, okay, this is what I'm feeling and this is how and why I'm feeling this way because of this past experience. And then being able to be with someone who can actually go, you know, that's not how it always has to be. Like, this can change. We're going to take a different path, a different course to it. And then that helps you heal. So that's like the most important thing. And then, so with guys' mental health, and then also, not only just the guys just be talking out to like their partners and stuff, but talking in a group like this. This group was primarily created just so that we can have an avenue to open up. Yes. Because so much we're just always just kind of keeping things, internalizing things. Being able to just say, hey guys, listen, like I'm having this situation right now. I'm going through this, I'm going through that, whatever. And then to have a group of individuals who can open up and go, hey, I've seen this happen before, or hey, like it's gonna be okay. a support system like this. And this is just what's so great about this group is that we are able to do that for one another. You know, communicate, we can laugh, you can see us joking and everything else, but then there are times we are very serious with each other, you know, helping people who are going through such emotions. I mean, like, you know, people who were, you know, moved in out of nowhere and come here, and all of a sudden they, you know, are just thinking, well, this is it. I'm done here. And it's like, no, this is a place for you. Please, like, open up to us, tell us more about it, and then letting them be able to express themselves and stuff like that. So that, like, that's what's really important is guys really need to be able to sit there and just talk out their feelings about what it is, and just be true to it. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Don't think we're gonna think, oh my God, this guy again, like, you know, complaining about something. Like, no, be this guy. Like, no, be true about just kind of going, hey, you know what? This is what I'm feeling right now. It's really bringing me down. I don't like it, you know, and I just don't know how to handle it. I don't know where else to go about it, you know, and being open is so important now, more important than ever. I mean, and especially those who are like, you know, like I had a buddy who's going through, he's a veteran, you know, he, you know, was going through a lot and realized that he was diagnosed with PTSD. So, I mean, him finally opening up and talking about it was a very huge thing. And the grace of God, he's still here with us, because so many of those guys, you know, go through that with PTSD, and then they're like, they just kind of just think there's no out, there's no way to out, because they're the ultimate man, you know, ultimate, you know, soldier is like, you know, you're top tier guy. You should not have any sort of emotions, whatever. But that's not true. That's where the most like emotions come from, because you're dealing with such a stressful situation, you know. So it's like you just wanting guys to just finally open up and just know that it's okay.
Absolutely.
100% okay. Just to let us know how you feel. We're here for you. We'll support you, you know, brother to brother. So, yeah. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad we're all here. Thank God none of us are moving, right?
That's right.
I did want to add one thing. So talking about, you know, theater and, you know, emotions and things like that. Growing up in a household that I wasn't allowed to be gay and I wasn't allowed to be myself, there was a lot of internalized like homophobia, like even just me trying to wrestle with the fact that, like, yes, I am gay, but also I feel like it's wrong because that's what I've been told my entire life. And so theater has really like given me, you know, the opportunity to really just be myself and to kind of express like my emotions and my feelings and not have to like live, because I was feeling that I was kind of living two different lives, because I would be trying to present more masculine. You know, I was trying to present more masculine in my day-to-day life. I would try to change my speech, just like how I talked normally, just to kind of present more, you know, straight, I guess, you know, like more masculine. And it wasn't until like I started doing more theater and like being in the theater space, it was like I could be myself, you know, like I was in Something Rotten and I wore a dress the entire show.
You look fabulous in that dress, though. So fabulous.
Thank you. So it was like almost drag. Like I was like, if you would have thought, like I could never have imagined that I would have been feeling comfortable, even just being on stage in front of people in full drag, and feeling confident and feeling like, hey, like this is me. Like you're either gonna like it or you're gonna hate it. Like it is what it is. Like this is who I'm gonna be. And then, you know, then I was in Sister Act and I'm wearing stilettos or not platform shoes, and you know, wig and be labeled as the gay boy. And I was like, there was a part of me that I was like a little scared about that. You know, even, you know, today I was just like, am I comfortable with that? You know, am I comfortable putting myself out there for all the audience people to see? Like, there's no hiding. Like, this is who I am, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, but theater gave me that confidence to like, let's do this, because it's a safe space. And it's a space that no matter who we, you know, who we're interacting with, and who we're doing shows with, like, there is that community and there is that, like, you know, brotherhood, you know, of people coming together and like supporting each other no matter who you are and how you, who you like and who you love and how you present.
Absolutely, absolutely. I definitely think theater has definitely given me like that same sentiments that you all just shared. So for sure, thank you to the theater gods.
We love the theater gods.
So this listener submission, this one is from a high school age kid, and so he submitted this story. I know by the time you hear this, you would have already been graduated. Just want to say congratulations.
Congratulations.
You did it.
Yes, buddy.
You did it.
You did it. So hopefully you'll be able to apply this advice. If you find any value from this, in which I think you will, you can just apply it to your college, life or whatever. And we'll just jump right on in. So this listener submission, he had wrote, I liked this girl since 5th grade, and I'm now a senior in high school. Last February, we went out on 2 dates. The first one being a double date with the sister. First one being a double date with sister, and then her sister's boyfriend. Ah, okay.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
Wow. What Game of Thrones?
Right.
What a Game of Thrones.
So we went out on another date by ourselves. Long story short, after the date, we ended up kissing. 2 days later, found out that she went inside crying and she started panicking and she ended up cutting things. And I feel like I was played, and I unfollowed her on all social media. And I was listening to my friends, hoping to get over her. In hindsight, it was a little immature of me 8 months ago, and 8 months ago went by, and we ended up starting to talk again. The grammar is a little bit off, but I get what you're saying here, kid. This was last August when we started talking again. We both agreed more so that she wanted to wait until graduation before she got into a relationship. I told her that I was fine with it. Since then, we've gone out on countless dates, more than 15, and at least she's been to my house 3 times, and I've been to hers. Then every holiday we get each other a little basket or whatnot and gifts. She's going to prom with me this year. Okay, my guy, the sentence structure, but it's okay.
Listen, you're homeschooling this. It's fine.
Is this a recording? Is this a recording?
You kind of
that
have
we're
to get there when you're in
transcribed?
college.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a voice transcription.
Oh no, this is just.
This is how it was actually.
This is how he typed it. He typed it in the form, just like an online.
One day Situaseans will be sponsored by Grammarly. You can go ahead and use Grammarly free online. I think
it's not really free anymore. I mean, it's still free, but then they start charging you for all your stuff, dude. It's kind of weird. It's like a subscription. Anyways, moving on.
ChatGPT.
Exactly.
ChatGPT. Yeah, there you go.
But we appreciate you, Nola. So at least she's been to my house 3 times, and I've been to hers more than every holiday. We get each other a little baskets or whatnot and gifts. She's going to prom with me this year, and we had talked about the future and about the timeline for marriage, not between us, just for what we would like to see down the road. So not marriage between them, but what they want to see individually.
Some deep conversations.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'm a little scared of abandonment since it would be 9 months of talking. However, I tend to overanalyze and overthink every little thing. I would love your feedback on this, and I think I do truly love her, and I plan on asking her to be my girlfriend in May. Well, this is August 28th, by the way.
Yo, for all we know, it worked out.
It's great. And you don't need any advice from us.
If it didn't, plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah.
You know that jazz.
Cover the
Go to
bases.
college.
Yeah, real fast.
Okay. Oh gosh. Yeah.
So, what do you all think about this?
What was the ask?
He wanted to ask her to be his girlfriend, so let's just kind of like.
Okay, is that what
like
the
a
ask was?
breakdown,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, man, you're young. I mean, that let's start with that. I mean, like you're super young. You're in high school. Relationships in high school, they can work out. There's successful high school relationships, and then there's not. But I think you guys have a beautiful thing going on. I think you still gotta kind of think about yourself as well. Think about how this is kind of affecting you. You talked about abandonment. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it essentially feels like a relationship without the title, right? Like that's kind of what at least I'm kind of getting from it. I mean, you seem to have a good head on your shoulder. You seem to have a good plan. You're getting to May. You're going to ask her, and I hope that works out. If it doesn't, you do kind of have to get ready for potential disappointment and say, hey, you know what? You're still a catch. You're doing all these things. You're putting in the work without it being official. You're putting in all that effort, and any girl or guy in the world is going to love that. They're going to love the fact that you're putting all this special attention of like going out on dates, getting each other gifts, whether you start that or she started that. You're building a lot of really great skills that any partner in the future will really appreciate and will set you up to be a really good guy. So I mean that in itself, you're heading in the right direction, whether you are dating her now or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That part.
I love the young thing because like if you've known this girl and you've been crushing on this girl since 5th grade, like and you're just getting out of high school, she has probably changed a lot. You have probably changed a lot. She is going to change a lot more, and you are going to change a lot more.
Absolutely.
And so when I hear you talking about like a timeline, take that out of your head. Do not put yourself in this mental place of, oh, I better be this far along by 23 and married by 26 and my first kid by 30. No, because then you're setting yourself up to like miss other wonderful opportunities that might not be those things, or just the disappointment because like, oh, well, I didn't reach my target. No, like there's too many other wonderful things happening around you. If you happen to stay on that timeline, lovely. But if you don't, think about all the other cool stuff that's happening around you and maybe decide, you know what, I'd rather go do that instead. And that is okay. You do not need to have the timeline planned out right now.
Sure.
Absolutely.
If I can remember the facts that were drawn out. So you've known this girl since the 5th grade, so obviously and then the whole, they kissed and she cried about it and they stopped communications. That clearly is just more or less of a worry that if you guys were really good friends for a long time, that's that fear that everyone has where they're like been friends with someone for so long and they're worried that if they become more than friends, and it doesn't work out, they lose the friendship and lose the person completely. So I know that comes into effect with that situation. But the fact that now you guys have gone on multiple dates means that you guys have grown past that. I would think, because that is something that sometimes is understandable, sometimes can be foolish. Because, I mean, if you've known for someone for so long, that means you really have a really true, deep understanding of that person. You probably know a lot more than someone who would just, randomly meet, on a dating app or something. So you truly understand that person in a more like spiritual level. Like you kind of know they're more than just knowing what their favorite color, favorite foods, whatever else, but what happened to them in like the 7th grade and, maybe some embarrassing stories and stuff like that. So having that is also, not saying important, but it's kind of like a cool kind of like thing to have and mentally to be able to be supportive for that person. So, I mean, yes. And yes, everyone is an overthinker. I'm guilty as charged. Like, just you try to plan the worst case scenario. That was my thing, I was always planning for the worst case scenario. And that was not how one should really kind of live their life, because life is uncertain, like with Michael said, like you're trying to put in a plan for you having kids at this age, whatever else. It's kind of crazy because life will throw you curves. I mean, I was 23 and I had my first kid. I wasn't planning on having a kid at 23, but I had a kid at 23. So, it's like that wasn't on my bingo card for that year, but it had happened, and now, he's 16 now. So it's like crazy how that goes. So
and you're only 24, right?
100%. Yeah.
Like time has not.
Times are really weird.
I'm no mathematician.
In theater, timelines don't matter. But yeah, I mean, if hopefully by the time you see this, you guys have collectively, because there's another thing too, is like, okay, you guys are graduating. Did you guys go to the same college?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you're adding a whole new factor about if you're not in the same college. That putting in the long distance relationship or whatever else, that can put some stress on things, whatever else. But if you guys are in the same school and everything else, it may work out. But I mean, you are young. So I mean, there is still a lot that can happen for you in life that if you are locking yourself down with someone right off the bat, it's like you didn't get to really experience what else can be out there for you. And there are success stories. Yes, there are people who are high school sweethearts that still, they dated through college and then graduated and got married and have kids now. And like there are successes to that. So you could potentially be on the same route, but potentially not. So you need to understand that's okay. Like that's okay if that doesn't happen. But we always want we always want what the heart wants. So if this girl is someone who really speaks to you and you really have a lot of strong feelings, then you put in the effort, because that's another thing too is if a person truly wants to be someone, they will put the effort into it. Yeah. They will make the time. They will, reach out and talk and not just let time go by. You're constantly in communication with someone. That's also kind of important to know, is like someone truly does care about their relationship, they will continue to make it work. and the best of their abilities, no matter the distance or anything like that. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
If I can say anything, slow down. Slow down. Like, you have so much life ahead of you, and this could be the love of your life.
Sorry.
shame.
This could be the love of your life, and you'll live a fairy tale, high school sweetheart into long, 80 years of marriage or whatever. Or it could be your first love, and then it may not work, and then you move on and you find somebody else. It might hurt if things don't work out, but there's a lot of things that you can take from that, or what you've learned about yourself, or what that relationship taught you as you move forward in life. Or this could be the person for you, and I would just play it by ear. Don't as some of these other guys had said, don't plan every step of the way, because things can happen, and you have to just go with the flow. Take it slow. If it works, great, but try not to force anything, and just kind of let it work for you. And if it's the right thing, great. If not, there's going to be other people in your life that you can fall in love with.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely slow down, and communicate your feelings to her, and just see the understanding between you two. And there are, like Rich said, there are a lot of factors that can happen into this, but really figure out what you guys are together. I know you guys are not official just quite yet, but leading up to that, figure it out. You guys have been on dates, known each other for quite some time now, but again, life just takes you in a different direction, and you guys should definitely talk about that, especially going to the college, different college, or maybe you guys are going the same college, but just communicating is the key.
Absolutely, yeah. I definitely think these gentlemen here brought some really good insights. So to the young man, I really hope that you find what you're looking for. And just take your time. And that's kind of why I wanted to bring the submission onto this show, because this this is the whole brotherhood kind of theme episode, and I was like, this is a young man, he needs a little bit of guidance. So this perfectly tied in. So thank y'all for dropping that knowledge. All right, so we got a Hinge or Unhinged segment that one of the listeners had submitted into the form. Again, if you want to submit your story, your question, or your Hinge or Unhinged prompt, go to situationspodcast.com/submit. All right. Okay, so I want to get you guys' opinion on this. So basically, this listener has submitted a screenshot, the screen, and if you're watching on YouTube or watching on Spotify, you'll see the prompt pop up right here. So you're going to see the prompt pop up right here. So basically, the prompt says, about me. So basically, this is, I was told by the guy that submitted this that this was on a girl's profile that he took a screenshot of. Oh, this is a girl? This is a girl's profile.
Just size 10.
Okay, I mean, that could still be.
So basically, this is what it says about me. 31-year-old single. I would hope so. You're on a dating app. Dress size.
The dating app.
Unicorns.
Exactly.
Unicorns. Yes, unicorns.
Right, exactly. Dress size 10. Okay, yeah, we love the honesty. Pop off. Okay. But not COVID vax. Yee. Multiracial. Okay, yeah, we love a multiracial baby. They're pretty cute. No kids. All right. And then let's see. What is it? Oh, drug free. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm guessing no marijuana. I mean, I guess I don't know.
No recreational.
It's a preference.
Right. Yeah.
That's fine. We're chilling.
She's a voice messenger, meaning she doesn't send text messages. She sends voice memos.
Fun.
I don't know about that. Gun owner. Now, if it's one gun, I understand for protection. But if you're like one of those fucking AK-47s in my shed or whatever.
What is the gun? Yeah.
Right.
Tell me what the gun is.
Listen, man. I need my AK-47
at this point.
Exactly.
Tap dancing. We're firmly there.
Oh, that's true. Not COVID vax. That's true. Not COVID
Exactly.
vax,
And then owns 2 rabbits. Okay.
Cute.
Cute. Bookworm. We love that. Love that.
Hey, yeah,
Anime
love to read.
lover. We love that. Now this is kind of like, this is her deal breakers. Anybody that's socially challenged, no. She puts the thumbs down for that.
What does that
Okay,
mean?
like I guess like if someone doesn't know how to like kind of like on a spectrum, but it's like someone can't help that. Like if you don't like that, don't surround yourself around
don't
that. Like you know what I mean? Like I understand where you're coming from, but you shouldn't like, I don't know.
It's too vague.
Yeah. She does not like misogynists. I agree.
Yeah.
She does not like single fathers. So sorry, Rich, right?
Okay.
I was already out for
Just because you're 31 with no kids, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
That's why she has no kids.
Yeah.
If she does not like anyone who's vaxxed, so we're all out on this one, right?
Darn it.
Right.
You know what? Thank you in advance for taking yourself out of the gene pool.
Right.
Damn, shame.
She does not like anyone who's married or divorced. So sorry.
You're still out.
So I'm out. Sorry, Brandon and Michael.
We might have matched very well.
Right. And no Biden supporters. She does not like atheists. So which is fine.
it's fine. Religious beliefs are important to people.
So basically, what I got from this is like none of us in this room would have qualified for this person, whether she was straight, whether she was a guy or a girl. Doesn't matter what she identified as. None of us would. Also, what I got from this is she does not fit any archetype or stereotype at all. She's an anime lover who's also a gun owner, who's also like not vaxxed, but then like I don't know. It's just like she's all or this person's
Character.
right.
For me.
Yeah.
Not for me.
So I want to know: do you all think this is hinged or unhinged?
Unhinged.
Unhinged.
Decidedly, unhinged.
Yeah, man. Listen, you can have filters. You can have whatever you want. You can find your perfect partner, but we're a little. It ain't here.
It ain't here.
I guess like the good thing is that she's just being honest.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like she is putting herself out there because like it would be nice to like know all those things instead of see the red flags later. So I'll give her props for that. Just a little bit, even though don't agree with it.
Right. 10 points for honesty. 10 points for Gryffindor for honesty. She's probably a Slytherin, but you know.
Imagines herself as a Ravenclaw is actually Slytherin. Like,
Right.
She definitely put out all of her filters of like what she wants and doesn't want, but it's like, dang, you've really closed your mind on opportunities of who you can meet, or it's just like you said, it's like he's basically throwing a dart at a dartboard of, will it hit? Nah, he likes Biden. Damn it.
Right.
He's vaxxed.
Exactly.
Doesn't want to
He's
die.
vaxxed.
Right.
Doesn't like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. It's definitely, this one was an odd one for sure. So I think we all agree on this one, unhinged for sure.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Right.
You do you.
You're doing great.
You do you, Queen.
If it works, it works. Yeah.
Keep being single. Wait, John. Now this person's definitely permanently single. Like
yes.
whoever put this on her
Well,
profile, she's permanently single.
I feel like you should make that into a stamp.
Chronically single.
Yeah.
Chronically single. That's another
I'll
T-shirt.
trademark it.
We just sit here and make T-shirts for you all day.
I know.
Exactly.
We got the merch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. The merch ideas all started here. Right.
Friendsville's proud of us.
Oh God, I can't remember. It just came out.
The dick was out. The dick was up. Or the
dick took over.
The dick took over. The dick took over.
Look it up.
Right. We'll do a replay.
It's in there somewhere. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you to the listener for submitting your screenshot. I hope you found whoever it is that like you're into. Whether you swipe right on this person or swipe left, who I don't know, but I just want to actually send me a follow up. I actually do want to know. So
If you're brave enough, hit her up, see what happens.
exactly.
She's the next guest.
Right. Next time on Situaseans.
Unhinged review.
That would actually be like an amazing segment. Just like,
Yes.
you feel like someone like actually comes and like, that's my profile, and like, let me tell
We
you
invite
about
the most
myself.
unhinged
Like, okay.
guests.
Exactly. I would love that. All right, so so thank you so much to the listener for submitting your stories, your questions. Also, if you all want to get involved in the podcast, remember, you can submit your story, situationspodcast.com/submit. It's an anonymous form. I won't know who submitted it. These gentlemen won't know who submitted it. It's an anonymous form. Also, if you want to submit as well, there's another way. You can go to situationspod@gmail.com, or you can call the hotline 312-586-2664 if you want to leave a voicemail submission. Yeah.
Those voice messages for you voice message people.
Exactly. Right for that one. Exactly. So, and especially I want to thank you guys for coming on to the show. Like, I appreciate you all being here. Y'all dropped so much knowledge. Love you all.
Thank you for having us.
It's a full heart.
Yeah.
Full heart.
Yes. Y'all saw it. I got a full heart. Y'all saw it. Awesome. And so, if you all want to follow these, these handsome fellows right here, you can follow their Instagram, and we're going to link it in the bio of this episode and on this podcast show notes, so you can get in contact. And I appreciate you all. Right, but
I'll take any social interaction.
Right, and we got a little song we want to sing for you all before we go.
Do we totally forgot about it.
Sure. How many takes do we have?
All right, so our vocal director Gavin is going to lead us in this.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. Ready and.
We're in the Brotherhood of Man, dedicated to giving all we can. Oh, aren't you proud to be in that fraternity, the great big Brotherhood of Man? Thank you so much, you all. I will see you all back here for the next episode in a couple of weeks. Woo!